They say Australia's oceans are alive, not just with water and waves, but with ancient eyes that watch, tides that listen, and spirits that travel with the moon. And if you sleep facing the sea, you may not wake the same. Tonight, under the hush of moonlight and the whisper of distant tides, we enter a world of old coastal lore, stories passed in quiet tones along the beaches, among fishermen, surfers, wanderers, and the First Nations custodians who have known these shores since the beginning of beginnings. This is the Australian rule you should never break. Do not sleep facing the ocean. Chapter 1. The Sea That Remembers. The ocean as a living spirit. Along the Australian coast, the ocean is not just a force of nature, it is a presence. Every swell, every crash of foam against the cliffs, every shifting tide is believed to carry intention. Some Aboriginal coastal groups describe the sea as a living ancestor. Others say it is a messenger for those who walked the earth long before the first human steps. But one belief is shared across many regions. The ocean remembers. It remembers the footprints you leave on the sand, the breath you exhale when you stand before it, the energy you carry when you walk near its waters. And most of all, it remembers the ones who sleep facing it. The belief is that when a person sleeps with their body open toward the ocean, their spirit becomes visible, like a flame in the darkness. The sea, always hungry for stories, always curious about human dreams, drifts closer in its invisible way. Some elders say the ocean takes note of the sleeping soul, and sometimes it reaches toward it, like a tide of consciousness, a pull of awareness, a silent invitation. So the rule is simple. Do not offer yourself to the sea while you dream, not because it is evil, but because it is ancient, and ancient things are unpredictable. Chapter 2. The Call of the Tides. Why the ocean calls to the sleeping. The tides are like breath, softening, returning, expanding, receding. They move with the moon, with its moods, with its shifting shadows. And in Australian superstition, the tides do more than move water. They move energy, emotion, memory. People living near the coast swear they can feel the tide in their sleep, like a whisper at the edge of their dreams. Fishermen tell stories of hearing faint voices calling their names in the night. Surfers share experiences of waking suddenly with their heart racing, convinced something was watching from the waves. Many say the ocean calls most strongly to the sleeping because the mind is most open then, unguarded, drifting, floating between awareness and surrender. To sleep facing the ocean is to open your inner world to the pull of those tides. Some say the tides tug gently on your thoughts. Others say they tug on your spirit itself. Not enough to take you, no, but enough to remind you the ocean is listening. Enough to remind you it is awake. Chapter 3. The Night Waves. When the ocean turns from blue to black. In Australia, the coastline by day is full of warmth and color, turquoise water, white sand, red cliffs, golden sun. But at night, all of that changes. The ocean turns black, silent in some places, thunderous in others, alive everywhere. The night is when the ocean reveals its true personality. More spirits are believed to move at night, guided by the moon or pushed forward by the restless waves. The darker the water, the thinner the line between the living world and the unseen. And this is where the ancient rule comes from. You never sleep facing the ocean at night. Not on the cliffs, not on the beach, not in a tent, not in a hammock, not even inside a car parked too close to the waves. Travelers who ignored the rule report the same strange phenomena. Sudden coldness, even on warm nights. Dreams that feel too real. Sensations of being pulled. Restless sleep. Waking up facing the water even when they turned away before sleeping. Some tell stories of seeing silhouettes moving in the tide. Others describe hearing footsteps on the sand behind them, only to find nothing when they look. But the most unsettling accounts come from people who swear they woke to the sound of whispers, low, layered, echoing like dozens of voices carried in the wind. They weren't threatening. They weren't clear. They were curious. Curiosity is not dangerous, but it is not harmless either. Chapter 4. The Spirits of the Coast. Incoming souls, lost souls, and ancient ones. Australia's coastal mythologies speak of many kinds of spirits that roam the shoreline. The wanderers, lost souls carried by the tide. The moonlit ones, beings that move with the lunar cycle. The deep ancestors, ancient protectors connected to the land and sea. The shifting shadows, spirits that appear in the corners of vision, never head on. And the ocean is their pathway. They move along the currents like travelers on a highway of water. Some pass the shore without stopping. Others linger. A few, the oldest ones, watch the humans who sleep closest to the water. Sleeping facing the ocean places you directly in their path. Not in danger, but in proximity. It is like sleeping at the doorway of an old temple. Nothing may come through. But if something does, you are the first it will see. This is why the rule exists. Not out of fear, but out of reverence. A recognition that the coastline is not just geography. It is a boundary, a veil, a meeting point between what is seen and what is felt. And boundaries, in every culture, demand respect. Chapter 5. The Rule of Travelers. Why backpackers and campers still follow it today. Australia attracts wanderers, backpackers, campers, van lifers, hikers, surfers, spiritual seekers. Many camp along the shoreline, drawn by the beauty and the solitude. But even among modern travelers, the rule circulates. Don't sleep facing the ocean. If you must sleep by the water, turn sideways or face inland. Some follow it as superstition. Some follow it because of the eerie stories they heard in hostels. And some follow it because they experience something they cannot explain. Travelers describe vivid dreams of drowning, dreams of walking into the waves, waking with sand on their feet, hearing someone breathe beside them, only for it to fade, feeling watched, gently but unmistakably watched. Many backpackers say they wake up multiple times when sleeping toward the ocean, as if something nudges their dreams or stirs the air around them. One traveler said she felt someone brush her shoulder at night, though she was alone in her tent. Another said he dreamed of a pale figure calling him from the shoreline, only to wake and find his tent unzipped. Coincidence? Imagination? Something else? Whether you believe or not, the consistency of these stories is enough to give the rule weight. And so it continues, quietly, respectfully, passed from traveler to traveler. Chapter 6. The Final Whisper. Why some rules are meant to be kept. The ocean is ancient, older than the first human voice, older than the first story, older than every myth we whisper under the moon. So when Australians say, "Do not sleep facing the ocean," it is not to frighten you. It is not superstition alone. It is not folklore for the sake of fear. It is a reminder that some forces deserve respect, some spirits deserve space, and some boundaries should never be crossed in your most vulnerable state, sleep. Because the ocean is always awake, always listening, always watching, and always waiting. Not maliciously, not hungrily, just patiently, curiously, eternally. And if you face it in sleep, some believe it may face you back. Thank you for drifting with me through this moonlit tale. If you would like to explore more hidden beliefs, whispered myths, and ancient superstitions from around the world, stay close. There are many more stories waiting beneath the surface. If this story stirred your curiosity or brushed your spirit with a hint of wonder, like, share, and subscribe to keep this moonlit journey alive. And tell me below, would you dare sleep facing the ocean?